The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Hello, y'all.
Good morning. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.
It's all red and white out there everywhere, and people planned all their little getaways. Where are we going? Nowhere.
We're
Thought I'd throw that in there.
Like
We're
going to
working.
David's. What are you talking about?
We're
For fireworks and dinner, there's like 25 people there. What's up with you with nowhere? Huh? Okay.
Love is in the
Yeah,
air.
so what's everybody doing? Everybody must be out and about. It's nice. It's kind of muggy out there, I call it. Like, it's almost like it wants to rain, but it's not.
It's beautiful out.
And because of all the fires, the sun's not really out.
True. That's
So
true.
it's just smoke everywhere. Like a couple days ago, they had air
Advisory.
quality warning
Air
for
quality
Toronto.
control, yeah.
So they were saying people, if you don't really need to be out there, don't. But apparently there's like a lot of fire. Like somebody said, and I don't know if this is true, like over 700 fires
I have no
all over
idea.
Canada. I don't know. I feel like that's a little, but or
Sounds-
maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I think there's a lot more than that, to be honest with
Really?
you. Yeah, a lot more, because you have all the barbecue fires, all the gas stoves. There's just a lot. You know what I did want to say?
What?
I-
Is it relevant or is it a little bit of a
A little bit of
dumb thing like you just said?
dum with some gum.
I know, I love that part of that movie.
Okay, so I wimped out of my Tuesday show.
Oh, let's talk about
So,
that.
well, I want to.
Woo.
I wimped out for a couple of reasons, but nonetheless, I wanted to just bring some of the comments that I got on
Because
the
some
last
people
show.
watch your Tuesday show and this one,
because they
so.
didn't appreciate it. So Nancy had wrote in and said hell to Randy, and then went on and did an explanation.
Hell or hello?
Well,
Maybe we should go-
Gary's the one that read it, so he fumbled with that word a little bit, and
Never
then he
know,
says,
eh?
"I think it's hell to Randy." Brenda wrote in, and the word "wimp" is there, so I'm pretty sure that was aimed at me. Steve wrote in, "I knew you wouldn't last. You always want to win, and you're a back down kind of guy, and a phony." So that was from Steve, and then Ron wrote in, "Duct tape your mouth." So I got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
I probably deserved it. You know, you shouldn't start a show and then not continue it.
Real friendly. That was.
Well, I think it was justified. If they're taking the time, right, to out of their evening to listen, and they're, and then you stop.
So why did you stop?
Like they said, I'm a wimp.
No, why did you stop?
Well,
You have no reason?
No, I have a reason. I have two pretty. See, the whole government coming in and wanting to control our speech and social media, that scares me. because it's one thing when you know the law, and so that you can then follow it. But it's another thing when you don't know the law, and then now you're in a lot of trouble with the government, which has many different arms. Like they don't just have to send the police. Like there's all kinds of things they can do, and your life becomes a living hell. And we know there are rebels that were out there that were standing up for their rights and stuff like that. And they ended up in jail. They ended up being sued in court. They ended up, their lives turned upside down, all on principles. And for me to do a 1-hour show myself talking about government and the things that they're doing that's influencing the real estate market and being opinionated about it is probably not good. And so because of that, and I hold a license, I am afraid. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so you
I'm
did
a wimp.
wimp out.
I did
Which
wimp
is
out.
not like you.
Well,
Especially
I feel.
these challenging emails would keep you
I don't
going,
mind
but
that, but I find that in this show it's spread amongst us.
so they have to arrest all of us?
Well, no, it's just a lot lighter. All right,
Well,
it's
their
not.
kids
It's
are a
not
bit
1 hour
older,
of Randy
and they
like
can take
hitting
care of
it.
themselves if we went to jail, so.
No,
You get more food, they actually cook in there, I don't know how good it is, but.
it's a lot lighter on the show. Like basically, you talk about getting your nails done and cooking and stuff like that. And Anthony, he doesn't really say anything; he just laughs. So
Yeah, these two were going at it before the show.
I just love feeling the love every week. I just look forward to all the love that comes my way. Appreciate it, Randy.
hey,
Good thing it's only once a week.
Hey, you gotta live with them.
Yeah, well, that's why I said, looking at you, it's once a week for you.
you know what? I will admit,
24/7 here.
it could be challenging for the wrong person, but.
So are you saying I'm the right person?
Yes, you're definitely the right person for me.
Woo, look at that.
You
On
know that.
Canada Day.
What is it? 24 years of marriage
Almost,
in this August.
yeah.
24 years of marriage. Can you
You got
imagine?
one more year to produce something really big for me.
You couldn't. You're short. What do you want? Something big?
You need my hand.
And we have one email so far from Don. Don says, "Happy Canada Day to your team. Yes, we are disappointed in Randy's Tuesday evening show. We liked it very much. Too bad it will not be on anymore. Have a good weekend, Don."
Oh, thanks for being
Yeah,
nice about
thanks,
that.
Don. No, I think you gave out a lot of informative. Like you're constantly seeking out news and real estate news. So you're like this great big walking funnel of news that wants to come out.
Well,
Okay.
before you even cut in there, I don't know much about what this law. I have to get a bit more research on it. But to me, it's pretty ridiculous. If you're, I don't know. Like I know I said it before. It feels like we're being censored for everything we're saying, and you have to be walking on eggshells. Like to me, when you live in Canada or if you live in the U.S., it's like the big thing is free speech, right? You're allowed to say what you want to say, and then if you don't like what I'm saying, don't tune in, right? Like I'm not forcing you. Like I don't have a megaphone. I'm saying you have to listen to this, right? If you're listening to me, it's because what I'm saying you're interested in, and you listen, right? You have the free choice to listen or to not listen, right? It's not like we're out in the middle of the street broadcasting whatever it is. Like we're basically on a radio station, on the internet, whatever it is, where you actually have to come and find us, right? We're not just out there. So I don't know. I think it's pretty ridiculous. I know you were talking earlier before the show about somebody who was forced to take down something or change something, which
Ontario Farmers Government Command.
yeah, which again to me is like it's an opinion from somebody, and I'm just letting people know what that opinion was. Like it's so now we're not allowed to express our opinions. We have to like basically fact check or go to the lawyer and say, okay, is this okay? Can I actually say this before I say it?
Can I get in trouble?
I don't even think it's that, guys. Okay, the scariest part when I found out about the Ontario Farmer Government Demand correction with them when their letter to the editor, that was like the icing on the cake for me. But what I was really concerned about was when we just randomly on air went to the Bank of Canada website and we looked at their losses for Q3, Q4, and Q1 of this year, and they lost money. For those of you that weren't on that show, it was like 522 billion in Q3, million, sorry, 522 million, so $500 million in Q3, a little over 1 billion in Q4, and $1.5 billion in Q1 of this year.
Are you like developing
And so
entering a new one?
a total of over $3 billion loss in just 3 quarters. And nobody's talking about it. They only talked about it the very first quarter, and it seems like it's totally off limits. Like for a company like the Bank of Canada, who has never ever lost money in history, and for them to be losing an incredible amount of money, and the guy is still there, and we didn't hear anybody talk about it. We just stumbled upon it. That was scary to me.
But why would
because
you
there's
get in
got to
trouble?
be a reason. Well, this is it. We don't know. But why would nobody talk about it?
Well, yeah, I agree. Because again, to me, that's huge news.
It's the biggest news
If
ever.
you've never had a decline and now you have a decline, that should be like every
Front
time
page
every
news.
time you turn the whatever CBC News, whatever it is, you should be seeing that at least like once per
But
day.
if it's already out there, why would you get in trouble repeating it? Like that's
Well,
what I
Jackie,
don't
they're not
understand.
talking about it.
But you found it
you're missing
somewhere.
it.
You found it
It's-
under site, so it's out there. It's for the public can go find it the same as you did.
You don't get it. It's okay. You don't get it. You don't have to get it. You don't have to get it. It has nothing to do with if it's the truth or not. This is big truth. This is the biggest truth I think ever in the existence of Canada, where the Bank of Canada, who writes all of our monetary policies, has lost $3 billion in 3 quarters. That is the most unstable business, period, and it's not being reported.
They need
Okay,
to get rid of
that's a
TIF
problem.
fast.
That's a problem, and the fact that they won't discuss it somewhere. No one, no news channel anywhere have said it. The only time we ever heard news was the first quarter they ever lost money on Q3 for 522 million. That was the only time it came out. And you would think when they doubled the loss the next quarter that it would be discussed. You would think, because that's huge. But no, you know why too? It's because they do not want Canadians to lose respect for the establishment.
I was going to say maybe they don't want to instill fear,
And that too. But
right? Because people can really, that's like
and so
kind of scary.
and so and
And it's
hence
going to affect everybody.
to me that's like a wake-up call. It's like, what did we just do? What? And I can't get over it. And so here I am going to have my own show talking about this every week. I'm going to get in trouble, big trouble.
Especially you.
I won't even.
You might see those unmarked vans start driving by.
Outside the house, down by the mailbox. They're like,
You know?
oh boy.
And you get in trouble for things that it could be unrelated. Like if you had diabetes and you'd have to go to the bathroom, when you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go quickly.
What
So
the heck?
you sometimes you got to pull over and run out and go. And next thing you know, you get a
What
ticket
are you
for
talking about?
nudity and whatever. But it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with you talking about the Bank of Canada.
I'm sorry, but like I need to get inside your mind because I don't know.
No, you don't want to go there.
Where
I
are these-
guarantee you'll be like,
Of all the examples to give,
Because
having
that's what I'm
diabetes.
saying.
no,
Having too
because I have diabetes, and so sometimes
Okay,
that
people don't need to
challenges.
know this.
It's here. It challenges you. When you have to pee, it's not like normal
Go to
people.
the washroom,
You get-
maybe, is better
Not if you're driving
terminology.
down the highway, you don't, and you get a minute or two warning, max. your body says you got a minute or two. Now it's like you're looking around. What's going on? And the thing is that what I'm saying is that they wouldn't come after me. Let's say for the Bank of Canada announcements
They
because
put you in jail for indecent
Indecent
exposure.
exposure. That's what I'm saying. Like you just don't know what it is. So I want to be clean under the radar. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, boy.
Before we move on, we have
So you get it now?
a few more emails. First one is from Kelly.
You see why I shouldn't have my own show? You see why?
Oh, with the way your mind works, or doesn't work, maybe. Anyways, from Kelly. Kelly says, watch out. Hello to Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, and staff. The Canadian government has already taken Facebook posts down and YouTube videos. I work for an attorney as a paralegal, and we already have complaints from folks about Trudeau's Canada. Watch out.
Yeah.
Well, seems like that might be the case, Kelly.
Kelly, by the looks of it, Randy might need your services at the rate he's going.
No, I canceled the show. I'm officially a whim.
No, but now you're on here doing it.
Yeah, but I canceled the show,
But how's it spread?
it's spread out.
We're canceled
It's
next.
not 1 hour, and I did it, and now I can freely go to the bathroom anywhere.
You know what? That's more common, okay? I'm driving on the 401. Do you know how many men, they don't even try to hide that they're peeing on the side of the road. They just get out and they stand by the side of the car and you're like, what the hell? Cover that thing up. I don't want to see that.
Diabetes.
I have one more from James. James says Trudeau is always facing 878 lawsuits in the courts about free speech. He's not going to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that we already have. He is a dictator. Randy will disagree.
Randy will disagree.
In brackets.
Is he a dictator? I don't believe he's a dictator. I believe he's just a dick.
I was,
That was supposed to be a joke.
Are you scared again?
Trudeau, I apologize.
okay, when he goes to jail, I'm going to be looking for someone else to take care of me. I feel like I need to start looking now.
Yeah, probably.
All right, looks like we touched on nerve here. Another one from Rita. Randy is right about the about Bank of Canada. That organization is wrong in so many ways. I'm a chartered accountant. They are screwing the people, but he used a more strong word than screwing.
You wimp, Anthony. You can't read the email the way it comes in. I'm kidding.
You know, to be honest with you, it even, like, I do realize that I'm not competent enough to discuss these on any kind of intellectual level. I can only do it on my layman's level, the way I see it. But I can't believe for 1 second that Canadians were perfectly okay with the Bank of Canada blaming Canadians coming out of COVID for the astronomical increase in inflation and the devaluing of our money. And when they just went on a spending rampage like we've never seen in Canada before, but it had nothing to do with them. It had to do with the other people that were buying bread and milk and stuff like that. It's this, for this reason alone, to have this type of negative energy in your brain, you should not have your own show. It's too. I need to detox from this.
That makes for good content.
Yeah, and it makes for it. You need to detox from it because what happened was I just went out and did this research just to try to figure out what's going on, and then you find out what's going on and it's just not pretty. Ken, Randy.
Well,
Go
Okay,
ahead,
who's
hit
the
me.
dick, Ken? Randy or Trudeau? Which one?
last email before we move on from Ken. Randy, that is so funny. He is a dick. So we can decipher
A
who that.
dictator. I think that's what he meant. He meant Trudeau on
Yeah.
that one. Sounds like it.
Yeah, or at least you hope so, right?
You know, either way, I'm secure in me. I am not any way perfect. Well, you know that of all people, but I got a good heart,
Really? You're not? Yeah.
and you know that too. So I'm good.
All right, people. I guess back into some real estate stuff. So if you've been following the market, the real estate inventory is actually ticking upwards. We're getting a little bit more inventory on the markets, which is helpful if you're a buyer trying to get in. Although I think the prices are flattening a little bit, but it's still not cheap to get in, especially now with the increased rate we just had, right? Where so if you didn't have your mortgage locked in, you're going to be paying probably a little bit more, right? So so basically, recently the real estate market in the GTA has seen a shift in new listings, outpacing sales in recent weeks, and inventory is gradually increasing, right? So this could be seen as a first sign of a change in market momentum, but time will definitely tell for that. In terms of months of inventory, there's about 1.7 months for low-rise and a little over 2 months for condo apartments in the third week of June, right? So it indicates the supply is still low, but again, gradually increasing. So again, we have to kind of see what happens. Again, we are now getting to kind of the slower time of the year. People are, well, it's Canada here, so a lot of people are gone out of the city. People are going to be traveling more with the kids, most likely in the summer, getting away while the kids are out of school, trying to keep them busy. So the market might come down now, but again, once the fall comes, it could start to tick up again. So again, you just kind of have to just play by ear and kind of see what's happening at the time. But it probably will come down a little bit right now. But as we get more into the year, it'll probably start to pick up again once everyone gets back from their vacations and they get back into the weeds of school and work and all those other things. So yeah, so I'm not sure if you have anything. I know Randy, you always have a good eye on the market. So if you have anything to add on to that.
Yeah, I actually, very surprising. You hit it on the nail. So
You gotta love those backhanded
Let
compliments.
me tell you something. There's a lot of peeing contests here this morning.
inventory is starting to flood the market. A lot, buyers didn't have choice before, and so now they're having a lot more choice, but it's still not enough choice. If you want it to be a buyer's market, we need to be up into the 5 and 6 months of inventory, not 1 point anything or 2 point anything. At 3 months of inventory, we start hitting the balanced market where it's neither advantageous for the seller or the buyer. It's just sort of like a flat market, but we're still in a seller's pressured marketplace because inventory is so low, even though the inventory is starting to pile up now. But keep in mind this, that the inventory, before this clump of homes was coming on the market for the spring, we saw prices just go up exponentially. I believe they went up $117,000, I think, this year so far. That's massive. The year's not over, and we all said that, hey, remember, we talked about this on one show, where earning $100,000 because you own a house, you're gonna get $100,000 in equity each year, is gonna become a reality. Remember when we came to that epiphany, and I found the notes this morning from that show. And the thing is that this year, in one of the worst times in history, it's actually going to turn out to be the same sort of thing. Last year, you lost 200 or 300. This year, you gain 100 back immediately like that in the first half of the year. That's pretty incredible. Rates being up. You would think that the rates going up would bring a screeching halt to the market. And the reason being is some people say, oh no, but 0.25 doesn't mean anything. Yeah, back in the day when we had mortgages of $50,000, $80,000, homes for $150,000, $250,000, $300,000, back in those days, yeah, quarter point, it didn't feel good, but it wasn't the end of the world. Now when your mortgage is $800,000, $1 million, that quarter of a point really starts to take effect over the period of a year. So I'm really honestly surprised at the resilience of the Canadian real estate market. More choice for buyers, it's true, but not enough choice for buyers, in my opinion, because we can see it on days on market. Remember, at 3 months of inventory, we hit the balanced market. until we get to the 5 to 6 month range, and that's when we start to get into a buyer's market. And so we're still in a seller's pressured market that has government regulations suppressing the market. That's where we're at right now. So when Anthony so eloquently wrapped it up and said that, it could be seasonality that slowed the market right now because the market was going very well and then it dropped off of a cliff about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks almost ago. That was, sincerely speaking, anticipated because we hit the summer months. Now, why some people wouldn't know is because the last 2 years in a row, the summer months were hot. The spring months were cold in the sense, not in terms of weather, but in terms of transactions. The market didn't do well in the spring months. It was the summer months it did, which was a total anomaly. So then,
Don't use big words.
So then this year, I think I'm getting old because that's not a big word. But anyways, this year the market sort of seemed to adjust back to normalcy. And so we're seeing that the spring market was hot and the summer market drops off. And that's what we're seeing right now. So I think I would jump on the Anthony bandwagon that the fall should bring in better activity again because that's the normal cycle. But as he said, we will wait and see.
Well, I also noticed too, a lot of homes, a good portion of homes that are coming on the market is baby boomers on the early side, meaning, the older baby boomers. Are a lot of houses that are coming on the market are estate sales. There's also, the kids are now taking over the home because the parents have gone into long-term care or they're gone into a senior complex, whatever, and they're older homes, not renoed, but very well maintained. I'm seeing a lot of that, and I would also tend to think that some people, their mortgages are coming up, or they have come up, and now they have to sell. I don't know. What do you think? I think that's driving the market a little bit. Well, the listing side of it a bit right now. Why we're still seeing, even though it's summer, we're still seeing listings
popping up. Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing. Like
that, definitely. I 100% agree with that as well.
And I kind of look at it, and I'm like, I'm kind of shell shocked because I keep up pretty good with what on a daily basis what's coming on the Durham. And I'm seeing some of these really big homes, like, $2, $3, $4 million, and they're dated. But they're worth like $3, $4 million because they're on, 5 acres of land and they're a fairly big home, but they're dated. And you're still having to pay, and they're moving. They're not moving quickly. Some of them are.
If you're on 5 acres, there's potential for a lot of other stuff. So maybe you're kind of buying the potential too, probably with that.
100%.
But I'm like, I can't see myself going out there and buying a $4 million home that now I want to update the kitchen and but people are doing it.
We're past that stage in our lives because our kids are older. But if we were younger, we might be very much attracted to that. I know.
Yeah, I would have a farm with animals, rescue animals.
I wouldn't have the animals. I'd have ATVs and.
You could have that on the other side. I have to have at least one side, so that's my therapy for my craziness. Let's just throw that out there, that craziness.
All right.
Got email?
Oh, we have one, yes. So we have one email from Brett. Brett says, hello to your team crew. Jackie sends out a lot of promotions for houses that are for sale. Why bother? They're usually 1 million plus. Who can afford that? You should target your emails to the wealthy. That is just my advice. I do love your radio show. Thanks. Well, $1 million plus is basically what the market is. There's not much below.
Well, when I take on a listing, though, let's just say,
we market.
I have promised my guaranteed, signed off in our package that I'm going to do my utmost to market that house to the best that you've ever seen. So I have to target everybody. You can't, when you're listing a home, it's like judging a book by its cover, right? You can't do that. Like, so, I mean, I have to market.
Sounds like you're defending yourself, but I do agree that you
Well,
know, the
I
whole
don't know if
goal
I-
is, I'm just teasing you. The whole goal is to let the world know that this property
Yes.
is available, and even though this person, you know, may not find that home affordable in any way, they may know someone who does, and so that can be just as valuable. Either way, the goal is to get the home sold for the home seller. So as Jackie says, you know, one of the things that we want to pride ourselves on is to have the world's best marketing for real estate homes. And so we wouldn't get there if we weren't hitting every potential channel that's available.
Yeah. So I do respect what you're saying, but
Yeah.
that's the reasoning for it. That, I mean, like, we had an open house, and there is a stigma when you have an open house about neighbors coming through. And the stigma is on both sides, because you got the neighbors coming in and they're like, oh, I'm just from down the road. I'm like, come on in. But years ago, realtors did not really like or see like those kind of people coming in, because you're thinking, oh, they're just a nosy neighbor. But there's a lot of times that you've got the parents, the grandparents that are coming in. The kids want to move in the
The
area because
relatives,
then
yep.
care for the children is around the corner.
Exactly.
So, like, you can't, I love the neighbors coming in.
Exactly.
And we talk about the neighborhood, what's going on. I think it's amazing. I invite that. So there is, you know, I don't.
Well,
yeah.
the thing is that
I don't know.
when 30% of the homes sold are people within the same community, moving within the same community, you want the neighbors through, because that's 30% of the marketplace. So so I do agree, is, you know what, you can't rule anybody out, you know, especially when you know what you know. And as Jackie says, you know, that person can't afford it. But guess what? Their uncle is wealthy, and he's looking for a place to move closer, because we're really close friends. And here happens to be one of the nicest homes in our neighborhood. They could move there. Boom, uncle comes, buys the house. And it all stemmed from someone that there was no chance. They have the smallest, most rundown house in the neighborhood, but their uncle has the biggest, most beautiful house in the neighborhood. So this happens, and so for that reason, you promote to everyone, you treat everyone fair, and don't judge a book by its cover, and you invite everybody in.
Yeah. But I do
And you have a
appreciate
funny email?
The email.
Yeah,
Something.
the love keeps on coming in for you. We got one from Anne. I think this is when you're trying to say the word anomaly. So she says, Randy, Staples has thesauruses for sale. Get one.
you really, they're hitting on you.
I love it. Thank you, Anne.
Better you than me.
And one last one from Karen. Karen is working on her summer project. Just happy candidate to all of your home. My summer project is she's finally going to finish up that deck and get the pool installed. And there's a picture with two pallets. One has a lawn chair, one has a little plastic swimming pool that she's hoping to finish up for this summer. So,
Well, that's okay if you got a little dog, because you can sit there while your little dog goes in the pool.
In the pool. I like that one where the person says, well, you know what, I'm just chilling out, I want to get an island. And it's an island in the middle of the
Oh,
road.
yeah, in a tent. That was last week. Yeah,
The
that was a
street
good
island.
one.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of definitely funny real estate memes out there right now.
well, it's not that hard to make one right now with
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at some quotes the other day, and there was some pretty, yeah, some I'm like, okay, I wouldn't want to put that quote out there, but
it's
there's, yeah, there's a lot, but yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay, so we've talked about this before on the show, mortgage fraud, and I just thought it was really interesting that nearly half of Canadians think mortgage fraud is pretty common, and some are willing to do it. So that was the thing that caught me, was saying some are willing to do it. So they're saying that 17 to 18% of people out there looking for a mortgage thinks it's okay to inflate their income or misrepresent their employment details to get a mortgage. That's kind of high numbers, don't you think? I don't know. I think 18% that are willing to commit fraud on that extent.
I think people, if you want a house, get desperate, and at the same time, with how we qualify for a mortgage, where we're qualifying for much more than we actually need. So like, I think people are saying, you know what, I know I can afford $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month for a mortgage. Why are you checking if I can afford $6,000 a month or $5,000, whatever the difference in numbers is? Like I can see people thinking that doesn't make sense, and to them, I'm sure they can justify that they're not really doing anything wrong because they're gonna pay. Once they get the mortgage, they're gonna pay for the mortgage, right? So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I can see how people could justify it. And to me, I could see 18%, like one in 5, 1 in 6. It maybe a little bit high, but
that's over. That's 1,521 people did the survey.
Okay, well, yeah.
So 18% of 1,521.
Okay, so yeah, it's still around 1 in 5. So
Yeah.
in that case, around 300 people. So
yeah.
Again, if you need somewhere to live, right, and if you can afford it, if you can actually afford the place, you want to get somewhere where you're actually paying down a mortgage versus paying, because if you're paying rent, again, you're building someone else's fortune, right? So, or someone else's livelihood. So, yeah, I can see it.
Wasn't it though like 32% of your income could go to your mortgage? That was where it was. So RBC said at the end of last year, the average household had to spend 62.7%. Now, if 62.7% of your income is going to a mortgage, you're not going to get approved.
No, you won't get approved.
No, right?
Right.
So if you're saying that the average last year was 62.7%, so I can see some Canadians saying, well, what choice do I have? I can't get into a home unless I commit some kind of fraud. So, and not only that, they said that in Vancouver and Toronto, the costs were even higher. Some households were spending 95.8% and 85.2% of income, respectively. I got issues believing that because you can't live.
Vancouver 95, Toronto 85.
You cannot live if 95% of your income is going, like, how are you eating? How are you got lights on? This makes no sense.
I'm wondering if they're talking about recorded income. I'm curious. Because that doesn't make sense, because if you remember, first of all, if you're earning the money to buy a home here, you're on a 50% tax bracket pretty much.
Yeah.
So, and if you need 95%, the numbers just don't add up.
They don't. You can't even commit fraud to get to that point to get a house. Like, dang, like what kind of fraud are you committing there when your 95% of your income is like your mortgage? Like those don't make sense.
No, they don't. But
and those are like RBC reports.
That's what they're saying is happening.
That's what they're saying. But I find it very. 62%. I can kind of see that doubling because some stuff has doubled.
What's happened,
everything is doubled, and I think it's just going to get worse out there because they still do not have inflation where they want it to be. I think that we're going to see a problem with food banks just begging for food and donations because there's more and more people having to go there.
The problem is I agree, the problem's not going to get fixed soon. I hate going back to this, but when the Bank of Canada went and distributed 300% more money, almost 400%, 300 and change percent more money put into our economy that was in it previously, but didn't share it with Canadians. They gave it to the banks. And so when they did this and printed that, then the money starts fizzing out from there. And as the money starts fizzing out from there, it's being devalued all the way down the chain. And what's happened is the Bank of Canada has a quantitative easing and then quantitative tightening. Quantitative tightening is when they suck all that money back out. So, of the system. When that happens, there's not enough money to run our economies at the way the economies were being run previously, right? If you needed $100 billion to run your economy and you got $400 billion in the economy, and now you want to go back to $100 billion, there's a lot of people that are going to get hurt in that process. And that's what we're experiencing. So yes, things are not going to go back to the same. They're not. They can't. And so we have to really understand that things are changed and they're changed forever. If right now you went from middle class and now you're feeling like you're on the poverty line, that's not going to change. As a matter of fact, I believe it'll probably get worse. So you're gonna have to change the way in which you think about things, the way in which you thought about your job before. You need to think about it differently. No, they can no longer pay you $70,000 a year. They can't. You have to tell them, sorry, I can't work for that. Look around at the competition because they don't have enough employees, and get yourself the new job at $110,000 because that's what it's gonna take for you to get back into the middle class. And so these are things that we have to make the shift because our economy's already made that shift. Our government policies have made that shift. Now, if our government, if Canadians choose to continue to have Justin Trudeau running the country, then now even what will be allowed to be said will be censored, so you won't even know why you're feeling all this pain. And so, because that will be hush-hush, and that will be negative or unacceptable conversations. And so you just have to get to the realization that this is the new norm. This is where it's at. Did you know that inflation was like 8% just a few months ago, and it's only 3.4 today? When you went to the grocery store, did you feel like you could buy a lot more than you could buy 3 months, 4 months, 5 months ago? Or is it still ridiculously high? So this 3.4 and 8 point something, that's not going to affect you the way you think it's going to affect you. The pain is already, the problem's already come to us. Now it's how are we going to go about handling it? And it took me a little bit of time to come to that realization, but that's where we're at. There's a new reality out there. We've got to get used to it. The faster you get used to it, the better you'll be able to navigate it.
But you know what? I just want to say one thing, and I'm not going to continue on with this, but it's so unfair because what's the first thing when money becomes tight that you have to give up? You have to give up the little extra things you do for yourself to get through the week, okay? Because you're working a lot. You maybe have where you go out with your husband, you have a dinner, or you go to a movie. And what's the next thing? The next thing is the children. Unfortunately, they can't do the activities that most of us want to expose our kids to. They just can't afford it. So it's not fair that this is, and the seniors who's on a fixed income, like they can't afford to eat 3 meals a day. Like, what's going on here with like this society where, like you're taking away the little things that make people happy. Like everybody's just going to become more stressed and more angry and more rage out there in the world, and that's total opposite of what we need.
But what's the good news is the government's going to pick some kind of community, and they're going to say, you guys are the winner. We're going to give you free dental. We're gonna whatever. They're gonna hand out these prizes like if something great has been happened, and now our cost of living goes up again, and they pick up more votes, and we fall victim to this mentality.
Or your city is vamping up all the parks, but so you can take your kids out there, but you got to work 3 jobs, so you can't take your child to that park. So you can't. So can you please maybe do something other than the park so people can, offer something, man, for these kids. We need to keep these kids busy.
Well, see, that part of it I think is quite easy, and I think that we're actually starting to move in the right direction. You just put that on the builders. The builders will figure it all out. We'll put the price of the park, we'll put the price of the school, put the price of the roads and the trees and all that into the homes. That's what they will do. So you allow them to take care of all that, but you mandate it. Okay, this many homes, that school. So
or
you know,
a park, some sort of park
and they
setting.
don't start the development until they have figured out who's doing what, and they've divvied up that price. And it makes sense. It gets done. I'm not crazy about the government going out and building these things, because the price tag that they put on things, for example, that app that Trudeau did for $58 million, you know, it's kind of either there's a little bit of a scam going on, or they're just really, really, really careless with their money.
Hold on. You have to elaborate on this app because people are probably wondering
Was it the
now.
can? What is it?
Oh,
can,
the travel thing?
travel app.
Can act. Oh, darn! What was
Yeah.
that?
But anyways, so
That's
that's
the
why
thing?
you don't need to elaborate.
No, the
But
last time we traveled,
the point
I
is
did
we don't
need
need it anymore. No, they
Just
made
like we
their
don't
money.
need our vaccine reports anymore. We don't need
Well,
anything.
thank heavens
Now
for
we
that.
just travel with your passport. You don't have to worry about anything.
Well,
You can
thank
cough
heavens
in
for
their face
that.
and they don't care anymore. No, I'm kidding.
All right, we got one more email in here from Jody. Jody's subject line is marketing. Hey Randy, don't worry about your marketing. Trudeau will be targeting that soon. With the one world order coming, the government will own all the homes and rent them out to the people. They will tell you that they're going to run your lives and you will be happy. So don't worry about your marketing crap. It will not last.
So, you know, Jody, I definitely don't believe in any of that stuff at all, not even a little bit. But you can certainly see it. You know, if you make things extremely unaffordable, and when things are going good, you do QE to mess things up, right? You create this thing where the flu, new strand of the flu, you know, becomes, I don't know, a reason for you to do QE or this kind of thing, and bring out a lot of money and move the middle class down to poor, yeah, when you think like that, I can see this one world order thing. But it would be really horrible on our psyches if we were to believe this, if we were to jump into it.
She's just trying to get ahead of the government.
Well, there's a lot of
She's
people.
like-
This is like, I mean, there's a lot of people that have this. I have a number of friends that do it, and I'm like, if you think like that, what's there to live for? So, I mean, for me, anyways, I would rather not, even if it is true. I'd rather not.
Well, I guess time will tell on that one. That'll be
Yeah, time will tell. But
pretty well. Same thing with the whole digital currency too. I'm sure there's other
yeah,
conspiracy-ish type of theories of, you know, what they're going to take the money from paper money to all digital money, like even like the Bank of Canada. So
that's going to happen anyways. You know, I really think that again, this is the altruistic Randy. I really think that someone is going to make this all right, right? Like, I mean, I think.
make this all
I make it right. Like, first of all, the reason why Trudeau is in power is not because he went with guns and took over, you know, Parliament. We voted him in, and so
I didn't. Just for the
and
record.
so we have to understand that it's really us that's making these choices, and so if we're not brave enough to cast our vote and believe that it counts, then we get what we get. And so I think at some point what happens, and this is my belief, is that at some point we all kind of say enough is enough, And all the people who never cared about voting before are pissed off, and they go and they vote, and things change. And the part, and we had this talk before, the part that actually is very upsetting to me is that as Canadians, we allow our government to come in and destroy, basically economically destroy our reality as we knew it. And we're perfectly fine with that. 30-something% of Canadians and Americans, where America's in worse condition than we are. And they have the best economy in the world, and look what's going on there. And your prices have gone crazy.
Idiots.
And you got 38% of America loves Joe Biden? How, like, after all the costs, I don't understand it. And we're almost as bad here. We're almost as bad here. I just hope that at some point we just say, you know what? You know that QE thing that you did? You're out because of it. And then guess what? It'll put a stop to these kind of things.
I think you got to run the country as a business. I'm sorry. That's what it is, right? You're balancing money. You're putting it here. Like, you really do.
It's close. It's very close to that.
Yeah.
We have another email from James. This will probably lead into what Randy was saying a little bit. James says, hey, please buy my new book entitled Crooks. The chapters: Trudeau, the Bank of Canada, Trudeau, Tiff Macklem, Trudeau, the RCMP, Trudeau, RBC, Trudeau, Trudeau. So.
We, Trudeau.
Yeah. He's got to go into hiding after this, I think. I really think he's got to go into hiding.
He's popular. And you know what? He's popular here in Ontario.
Listen,
So-
I don't know after what
Yeah.
what the government, and I don't know if he's responsible for this, with some people have said. I mean, I'm not even going to get into it because it's something totally outside of real estate. So
All right, one more, two more. Another one from Donna, also subject line crooks. Why not lie on a mortgage application? Like Anthony says, people can afford a lot more than the banks give them credit for. There are all kinds of income that folks get that is not reported, etc. Banks are ruining it for folks to obtain a home. The banks are the crooks, not the people. Well, why not lie? Because, well, one reason you can get in a lot of trouble if you get caught. So
Yeah.
that's one reason.
Mortgage fraud
right?
is not some little
Right?
thing.
Your mortgage agent can lose his license. Like, there's a lot of reasons
Yeah.
why you don't want to lie. But my point was, I can see why people would want to, because they want a house. They want somewhere to live. They can afford it, or they believe they can afford it. And most time they probably can. So I can see why they would want to. I'm not saying saying they should, because there's a lot of things that could happen if you do lie on your mortgage application. So you want to try to get in, hopefully the right way, so that nobody has to get hurt in the process, and hopefully you can still get your place to live.
It's
Do you have any
interesting. I hear what you're saying. You know, this reminds me back when I first got into business.
Oh boy,
And we
this
were
could be a long story.
No, we were was down in the beaches, and the PM they dug into something and found out that he had almost like a free mortgage from the banks, right? So is that not crooked? Is that not like, I mean, it's a different kind of mortgage fraud. It's a mortgage fraud between them. They're basically buying influence from him. He's getting special privileges and all that stuff. And how do these things happen? But I don't know if, and you remember we talked about it on one of our shows of a gentleman who there was no way we could get a mortgage for because he had only just started at his job and his wife was on maternity leave. Then they didn't have enough income to buy a $500,000 house, but they walked into their bank. And their bank gave them a mortgage,
No.
which is
the
absolutely
realtor got them the mortgage.
no. The bank got them the mortgage.
Okay.
and it was for $500,000 where he just
Over.
started a job. And for us, we can't get you a mortgage if you haven't been employed for 2 years. And it has to be steady employment, or if you're moving from one job to the other, it has to make sense. You can't move from being a bus driver to a fireman to an accountant. You can't do that. It has to be some sort of
career.
same career line and an advancement. And it would have to be for a 2-year period of time, or it's just there's no chance of getting it. But the banks themselves underwrote the deal and did it, and that was mortgage fraud. So I think it runs in many different forms. And do you think like these guys were only 20-something years old, so they don't know? I don't believe that they.
No,
I
they just
actually
think,
don't
oh my
believe.
goodness, I can get a mortgage here and buy a house.
And we know that young couple, and I will tell you straight up, they would never do something if they thought it was fraudulent. So that was the bank, 100%, twisting it all and making it fraudulent. So how do you react to that? And these are kind of the reasons why I think I shouldn't have my own show, because I get in a lot of trouble for exposing these things.
I just want to say quickly that I'm loving all these emails and all this interaction. Hey, like it's great that everybody's emailing in. We're also on YouTube.
Yes. So yeah, at Your Team Pros on YouTube. Yes, I forgot to mention it earlier.
Yeah.
Watch us live and direct. And to lead on to what Randy was saying there with this last thing, we got a little bit more hate mail for you from Tom. Not really hate mail, but we'll see. From Tom, it says, "No, Randy, we're not going to get used to it. We're going to fight this crap that is being imposed on us. No wimping out like you are. Just like the trucker strike, we're going to fight and we're going to make the change. We are going to get rid of Trudeau in the next federal election. We will peacefully protest. We will do what is necessary." And he ends it off with, "Hi, Jackie."
That's pretty good. You know, it's funny because you mentioned the truckers. The truckers did not win. They did not in any way win. Some of them had their bank accounts frozen. Some of them were put in jail. All kinds of stuff for doing almost nothing. Well, they really hurt the congestion, the traffic congestion in
But
Ottawa.
that was the point.
That was the point. But
That
then,
was their
but then
point.
they moved it to the bridges where you needed commerce to go through, and they were clogging that. But I stood honestly. When Justin Trudeau would not speak to the truckers and he called them unacceptable, their viewpoints unacceptable, that was when I officially was off. There was no wishy-washy anymore. I do not believe he's a good leader for Canada, because he should have at least reached out the olive branch and spoke to them, but he didn't. And as for Tom not getting used to it, we're going to fight back. Tom, it already happened. I'm sorry, dude. It's done. It's over. They already did it. All of our price increases are here. Go to the grocery store, take one plastic bag with you, fill it up, and give them the $100 for it, because that's what it's going to cost you.
Oh
It's
my
here.
gosh.
You can't go and fill up the back of your van with
went-
$100 and something anymore. Those
Yeah.
days are gone, and they're not coming back. It's not happening. So,
Yeah,
but
based
I
on
understand
that-
your anger.
Yeah, based on that, I was saying I went to the grocery store 2 days ago, and I kid you not, I'm going to tell you what I bought. I don't cook, so let's put that out there first of all.
Yeah, one
So
minute.
I buy the probably poisoning you the microwave little bags of rice that you put in for 2 minutes and the rice is already
So
done.
good for 99 cents, is
It's
it?
not 99 cents, by the way. Yeah, you need to go to the grocery store. I bought 3 of those, a bottle of bleach, a big pack of paper towels, and a big pack of toilet paper, and it was $77.
Yeah, it's about right.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I had basically no food. So, I mean, I can see now. I was watching stuff last night, and there's this company that's making reusable paper towels, and all they're doing
Reusable
is
paper
getting
towels.
they're
Are you
getting
washing them?
fabric and they're cutting it to the size of a paper towel, sewing it up and everything, and they're telling you to keep your paper towel roll from actual paper towels, and then you can continuously wrap these cloths around that, put it on your paper towel holder, and it's going to come to that. Like you talk about, remember that show that it was the cheapest people, whatever? and they were cutting up towels to use in the bathroom and re-washing them. It's going to come to that, I'm telling you.
It depends. So this is the thing. So I think we should all donate to Tom's GoFundMe thing, where he's going to bring back the prices where we can actually afford to have your groceries.
He's
where
saying if we
everything-
get Trudeau out, then it's a possibility things could get better. That's what Tom's saying. So stop. Tom said hi to me. Stop.
getting back, things getting better, but not back to where we were. That's the difference.
Beating up on Tom.
All right, ladies and gents, thanks for joining us again. Happy Canada Day to our people here in Canada. Happy Independence Day to those in the States where we're celebrating that this coming week. As always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realradio101.com.
Bye.
Happy long weekend.
Happy Canada's Day.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.